What's up, guys? I'm Anthony.
I'm Manny.
He's Manny.
Yes,
He's
I am.
new.
I am new. I'm very new.
I'm excited to have him on board.
I'm excited to be on board.
So, to introduce what this is, since you're a newly affiliated member.
Well, this is going to be DCTV Weekly Recap, in which case we are going to be discussing the weekly shows that are the Arrowverse. Supergirl. You like that shit? I do too. So does he. Flash. Oh, you like that shit? Ha! Samesies. So does he. And on top of that, what else? DC Legends of Tomorrow and Arrow. All that shit. We like all of it.
Yep.
We don't have a favorite. We just love it all. Because, you know why? It's a great time in television for a comic book fan.
Absolutely.
When can you ever say that there were so many shows simultaneously on a network going on? I mean, Jesus Christ, the crossover. Forget about it. Beautiful. Yes, we're from Brooklyn.
Forget about
it, bro. You know, and I'm Puerto Rican. I'm doing that shit. So yeah, it's a fantastic time to be alive. Well, yeah, okay. Just off TV alone. I mean, the comic shit is phenomenal. And I mean,
you know what's funny about it is at first, I wasn't watching any of them.
I wasn't.
And what
For shame.
What a crime that was.
What a crime.
You should have locked me up. What happened was he talked me into watching, and so did Matt. You guys remember Matt. Matt and him talked me into watching Arrow. But from Arrow, it was like a tag team. If you're watching Arrow, you gotta watch Flash.
Yeah.
So I paired off with both of them.
And then I tried to convince him to watch Supergirl and Legends of Tomorrow, and he was like, "Oh, I don't have time for that. I don't think I can do it." And I'm like, "But you got to complete the cycle. You can't start with the first two." And
that's what it was. Is like now I wanted to complete the universe. I'm watching half of it. Let's watch the other half.
And now, aren't you happy that you did?
I am so happy that I did.
Thank you. Yes.
So happy that I did.
Especially given the fact that now they're all coming together and they're acknowledging each other's existence. As before, last season up until the Supergirl Flash crossover, they had no idea of who each other were at all. And I'm sorry if the English is broken there. That's my bad. But that was a great crossover from last season, and that kind of opened the door to let you know that Kara will be visiting our Earth, Earth 1, eventually. So that was great. I just loved it.
I love the fact, last season we got the crossover with Arrow and Flash like usual. Mm-hmm. We got the crossover with then Flash and Supergirl.
Yeah, and that was just like watching two puppies cuddle. It really was. But when you got her ice cream, oh,
that was a great scene.
Done.
But to actually have all four shows come together.
Dude.
I was just gonna say that's such history.
That has to be
that's
history.
So amazing to be able to see on TV.
I'm trying to think.
What an accomplishment.
I'm hard pressed to think of another time when there were, at least four shows going on all in the same universe.
I don't know.
Airing at the same time and everything, where they were all able to cross over.
This is TV. It's gonna sound really weird to say because it's so against it, but this is TV's Marvel universe right now. Marvel has the movie so down pat.
They do.
With their Marvel Cinematic Universe.
They do. Give credit where credit is due.
Yeah, but this DC owns TV right now. This is their universe. This is their realm. They have built this.
Exactly.
Arrow's on 5 seasons.
They have their own mini Justice League.
They really do.
And everything got renewed for next season, which made me so happy.
Right now we're looking at, in the future, for at least the fall now, we have 6 seasons of Arrow, 4 seasons of Flash, 3 seasons of Legends, and 3 seasons of Supergirl.
And the potential for a 5th new show, Black Lightning.
Yeah. Yeah, they really opened so many doors and possibilities with this now.
Dude, it's a great time to be alive watching this comic book television. It's phenomenal. So you guys can get the gist that we're going to be discussing these weekly episodes. Even if 2 shows take off, we'll still be discussing the other 2. As long as there's a new episode, it will be discussed. Everything will be discussed. We'll also discuss any rumors, new information that's regarding these shows, any new castings, anything like that. Theories, fan theories. We would love to, hear anything that you guys have to say in terms of opinions regarding these shows. But let it be known that no matter what we say on this show, we love DC to death. So there may be an opinion that you might not like, or that he may not like that I say, or vice versa. Doesn't matter. We're all in the same family of DC. We all love the shows. We just might like certain things that you might not. And same thing.
So
vice
keep
versa.
it classy.
But, I guess. I guess. You're all entitled to your own opinion, There's no need to be dicks about it, though, because we're all loving the same shit.
So what you could be asking is, we're already past the mid-season break of all these shows. Mm-hmm. Why the hell are we doing this now? Where were we at the beginning of the season?
Well, to answer that question, Anthony, I think, if I may.
You may.
So we've had these conversations about these shows religiously, like weekly. We automatically just have these conversations, whether through text or when we hang out. Automatically, we're like, dude, what'd you think of this episode? What'd you think of this? What about this? Oh my God, did you see that Easter egg? So on and so forth. So it kind of was just at the point where we were thinking to ourselves, why isn't this being filmed? Because it's not like we're, scripting anything. This is just what's coming off of the cuff from our minds right then and there. So why not have it documented and just put it up to see if anybody else feels the same way or if anybody else digs it like we do. So
it's just the fact that you could even see it on other things like even Reddit. Like, this is such a huge community.
Oh yeah,
and it's like if we have this
Arrow TV, everything.
Yeah, and if we have these conversations and we have this passion for it, why not share it when we can?
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Or it's all DC love, man. You know what I mean? Why people doing it already? Why not continue to oversaturate it with these two guys right here? Us.
But why not? It could be something different. We might say something that you actually really like and agree with,
or something that you fucking hate to death.
And
but
then
it's okay.
And you hate watch us.
That's a thing. That is a thing.
That's a thing.
That's a real thing.
So what we're gonna do for the introductory episode is give our thoughts and opinions on the season so far
for each show.
Given
that we've missed quite a few.
Right. So we're just gonna catch all up right now. And then start next week with a complete, legitimate weekly recap of all 4 shows for that week alone.
And we will always start with the chronological order from, Monday through Wednesday.
So it will go Supergirl, Flash, Legends, Arrow.
Mm-hmm.
So
Supergirl season.
You're the new
all right,
new kid on the block.
All right, we're doing Supergirl first. Okay. So Supergirl season. I'm really liking the way that they're. I mean, I do miss Cat Grant. I'm not gonna lie. I want to start off with that. I miss Cat Grant. Her presence was extremely felt. I felt like she was a very strong core part of the show that brought a certain. I'm gonna sound so douchey, but je ne sais quoi about this. I really liked it. I really miss her. I believe she's supposed to come back before the season ends.
Yeah.
It was a shame that she couldn't come out to Vancouver and permanently and film shit. But to each his own. That being said, I do like Snapper Carr. I like what they're doing with Snapper Carr. I like that Kara has an established career of where she wants to go in terms of a direct path of what she's looking for. The only thing that I'm really not feeling too much with Supergirl this season, and it was the problem that they had last season too that I feel like the villain of each week is kind of just a throwaway. You know what I mean? There's very few that have really left their mark on the show.
Mm-hmm.
Where I was, where it really resonated with me, where I was like, damn, that was a vicious villain. You know what I mean? I know that Parasite's gonna come back. I know that I'm hoping that Metallo's not dead, cause spoiler alert if you don't want to hear this shit right now, cause in this past Monday's episode he blew up essentially from the artificial kryptonite or synthesized kryptonite.
Yeah.
So, I like where everyone's going. I'm not too keen on the Guardian story plot.
I was going to agree with that too.
I'll let you go into that.
Yeah,
I definitely am not feeling it as much. I feel like there's times where I do like it, and then other times where I'm kind of just like, where's this coming from?
Right.
So you can, by all means.
And I will agree with you about Cat Grant. I miss her. I miss her daily in this show. I felt like she was a big part of it. And I understand.
And she was like a mother figure to her,
That's
too.
what I was going to say. I understand that they had her in it as that mother figure or that person to look up to.
Hell yeah.
For her. But I feel like she just needs to be there. She was an integral part of season 1, but not just because she was there and then she got stale and now she's
she was a role model.
She needed to be there.
Yeah.
I will continue to say this, my gripe about her character is that, and of course you can say that she's smart enough that she knew anyway, but my one gripe is that they never confirmed and solidified that she knew Kara's identity as Supergirl, and it's like...
Well, they did have that episode where they convinced her that it wasn't her because they had John Jones come in and
I know,
Supergirl while Kara was in the room.
I know, and it bothers me that she is at this point literally the only person in that show that does not know that Kara is Supergirl.
I mean,
even Maggie knows that Kara is Supergirl. And she legit walked up and was like, yeah, Supergirl's your sister.
Well, she'd be a pretty shitty detective if she didn't know that, though.
But how do you make someone like Cat Grant, who was supposed to, cut through the bullshit of everything in her life?
Yeah, but if you see Supergirl and Kara in the same room, are you supposed to be like, I call bullshit,
Listen,
no, you can't do
I know that they wrote it so that she would have to believe that she's not.
Yeah.
It just bothers me that she's literally the only character that they made still not know that Kara's Supergirl.
Okay, fair enough.
You know, like
fair
now
enough.
she's gonna come back, whether it's this season or next season for an episode or whatever,
Right.
and she's still gonna walk in and not know that Kara's Supergirl, and that's just gonna bother me because I feel like the way they wrote her character, she deserved so much more than that. Like she deserved to not have her intelligence insulted. You know what I mean? And yes, they did the whole he shapeshifted into her, so of course she would believe she's not. But it's just like.
Well, she's a woman of power, though. I mean, imagine if she did have that information. I mean, I'm not trying to say that she would blow up her spot, essentially, because of. I mean, it was made very clear that she likes Kara.
She respected.
Yeah.
She respected Supergirl, and by the end, she respected Kara.
Yeah. So, like, I mean, but do you really want to run the risk? Even though I'm not trying to say that she's that person, but do you really want to run the risk with a woman of that power, knowing what your secret identity is? Because you never know what can happen.
For me, it's like give a little more balance. Like have several other people who also don't know our identity, so Kat's not the only one in the group. And this season, I am enjoying more than last season,
Mm-hmm.
and I feel like that also goes to the fact that it's like it's now the second season, so certain things that they were forced to establish in the first season,
right,
that's done with.
Yeah.
Now that's set, you know. So now they can just build on more and explore if they want to.
But I like that. I like what they've done by adding Lena Luthor.
Me too.
Because
absolutely.
I like that Lex is away because I don't want him stealing the spotlight. I mean, it's very easy to get, enthralled and taken aback and kind of just like, oh my God, yes, Lex is here, but it's like, no.
Like the nostalgia of it.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, it's not about you, Lex. It's not about you, okay? You're a guy. Fuck off. I don't want to see you, Lex. Like, you know what I mean? Just like
go bother Oliver.
Just like Superman was there. Just like Superman was there for like 2 episodes. I'm sorry. And I thought he did a great job. He did an amazing job as Superman. I like that he was there, but they didn't take away the spotlight from her by having Superman there.
What I would
they still made it about her.
What I wish they could have done, just as fan service, like not to say there was the same universe because it's not.
Right.
But I wish they could have just got Tom Wellington to play.
Oh, Welling? Yeah.
Superman. Tom Welling.
But you see, that would have been a broken universe because don't forget the woman that played Kara in Smallville was Brainiac.
Right, like not.
So it would have just been like
not even to have any kind of universe connection, just as fan service to say, hey, remember that show you watched when he was becoming Superman?
No,
here's a little nod and Easter egg that he's Superman, you know?
I get it. I mean, they even had. I mean, don't get me wrong. They had Lex's sister in Smallville as well, and she ended up playing like you never knew, was she good or was she bad? Was she good or was she bad? And she ended up prevailing as good overall. And I was kind of hoping that they were going to show that in Supergirl, so I was happy when they told us that they casted Lena Luthor for season 2
right.
because I mean I know that they're trying. Well, at least I would imagine that they're hoping that dynamic is going to kind of be similar to what Superman and
right. And I like
Luthor was.
I like what they do. I mean, sometimes it could get a little or seem a little forced, in my opinion. But I like the fact that they're mirroring Supergirl with Superman. Like Superman has Lex. Supergirl has Lena.
Yeah.
And even the Bizarro was a Bizarro Supergirl, and they're just taking all the Superman characters and bringing them over to a more female-oriented cast.
Well, they have to because honestly, Kara didn't get her just due in the comics too often in terms of having her own solidified villains where it was like, yeah, you got to bring that villain back.
Right,
you know what I mean? So. They do the same thing with Arrow, where a couple of villains that are more known to be Batman's villains are being given there too. You gotta mix.
I just feel like I like that they're doing it. Sometimes I feel like it comes off a little like piggybacking.
I get it, but I mean, what else are you supposed to do when if she doesn't have her own like list of rogues that are as established? You want to give her solid villains, and this brings us to that same thing with the villains. They kind of they're there. But they don't. I feel like they don't leave too much of a lasting impact. Like I feel like I mean,
when you say like who's the villain of the week, it's really just the villain of the week, and then they're gone.
Yeah, I mean, aside from, I feel like Livewire is pretty like all over the place out there in a good way, and we gotta give credit because I love what they did with Jean and Magan. I feel like the man, and forgive me, we're gonna I don't know the actor's name who's playing Jean. I'm a dick. I'm sorry.
I did know. I did know too.
You see, I feel like he's doing such a strong job.
Him.
He's giving like the best acting performances of his life in these recent episodes when he had Magan. Unfortunately, she's not on the show any longer, for at least for the time being. We don't know if she's gonna make a return, but I felt like when he was with her, those were some of his strongest scenes. Like as an actor, I was like, yes, because he wasn't ODing either. You know what I mean? Like he wasn't overdoing it. Where I was like, oh God, calm the fuck down.
I feel like, you know what it was? He made me believe that he was a Green Martian, feeling conflicted about having emotions for a white Martian.
Yeah.
And these are people that are just behind a freaking camera.
Yep.
And he made me believe it. And I felt for it. You know what I mean?
I mean, that one episode where he went into her mind to get her out of... Because remember, she was like on the brink of death. He went into her mind to save her. Like that scene when they were just in that... On the planet again and like in the desert and everything. Dude, that was such an intense scene. Like it was so beautiful though. Like the way that conversation that they had and the way that he spoke with her. And that they just had such good chemistry together. Yeah. I wasn't ready to see her leave yet. I wanted to...
When she said she was leaving, I was like,
I wanted to see that explored more because, they just he professed his love to her.
Pretty much,
and then she reciprocated those feelings, which was nice that she said that before she left, but it was like, I feel the same way. Bye. But before we end the talk on Supergirl, tell us your Guardian beef.
Okay. So, I'm not buying it. I'm not invested in it. And I'm more invested in Mon-El's character arc than I am in Olsen's and being Guardian. You know, I feel like it was shoehorned in.
That's the whole thing. I mean, I'm sure that there are some that love Guardian, and we're not hating on James Olsen because I like the guy. I love him. I like Mehcad Brooks as James Olsen. I
love the character of James Olsen. I'm not crazy about him as Guardian.
Right. So you like James, but you're not sure
and I feel like he did great work last season when he was
I did too.
Jimmy Olsen.
I did too. Yeah.
I feel like it was just shoehorned in, and it just bothers me a little bit that to a certain extent he could actually hold his own. Where, as of what we know right now, he hasn't had extensive training.
Yeah, no. I mean, all that he said was that he had taken martial arts classes at some point, and he learned how to fight so he could hold his own in a fight.
But he's fighting at the level of Oliver, and he spent
he also has his enhanced armor and the shield and shit. But what had me going crazy was a week after he, when he was fighting Parasite, right? How was he holding his own against Parasite? That was his first. Wasn't that his first official?
That was his first appearance.
Yeah, and he's doing flips and shit, and I'm like, where the fuck did this come from? That's what I'm saying. That's what shocked me.
And I would have been okay if they at least showed some flashbacks of him doing martial arts with somebody, or maybe we find out that even if he didn't know, maybe he was actually learning from somebody who was actually really important in the univerce,
and we're not trying
in the comic universe.
And we're not trying to shit on Guardian by any means. The whole fact of the matter is that I'm sure there are plenty of you that love Guardian. I love Guardian from the comics, but I think what we're trying to really say is why is it that him being Guardian may not resonate with everybody right now? And I think the reason why is, as you said, it felt kind of shoehorned because last season he didn't really have that feel to him where he was saying oh, I wish I could do even more than I'm doing right now.
There was no build-up.
It just happened because, he couldn't hold his own against the mugger. A dude knocked him out when they were robbing that bank.
And his camera broke.
Yeah, his camera broke, and then all of a sudden,
and 2 episodes later, he's coming
at sentimental value because I believe it was his father's camera.
Yeah, his father gave it to him.
It was his father's camera that he gave to him, and I understand the sentimental value, but I was not understanding how, from that being broken and you getting punched in the face and knocked on your ass, all of a sudden you're like, I always felt like I needed to do more. It's but you didn't.
Exactly.
Or if you did, that was not made.
And it was not made
clear in the first season.
When it first happened that he got beat up and his camera was broken, and all of a sudden he wanted to do more and be Guardian, it kind of felt at the beginning like he was doing it just because he wanted to not feel like that again, not be taken advantage like that again. Which kind of made it seem more selfish. I'm not going to be beat up like that again. I'm not going to be taken advantage like that again. And then all of a sudden...
But it's also a peace of mind, empowerment, knowing that you could...
Right, but then it translated more into now he's actually getting into fights with Kara, saying that, you don't have to be the only hero. On to...
Flash.
Wow. Want to alternate? I'll go first this time?
Go for it, man. Go for it.
Please don't hate me. I love Flash.
We've all established that we love these shows to death.
I know, but I feel like I just spent so much shit.
No, it's time. No, we're just giving.
It's just criticism. It's healthy criticism.
But we're also saying what we like,
opinion,
so it's give and take.
I feel like this is the weakest of all 3 Flash seasons so far.
I agree.
1 and 2 I absolutely adored. I felt like they were strong. I felt like they were concise. I felt like they were solid. You know? I'm not feeling that in season 3. I feel like it might be the fact that they maybe jumped the gun on Flashpoint a little too early in the story's lifetime. Yes. I mean, it was literally the end of season 2 that they started it, and you started season 3 with it. Like, I think that could have been more of a strong story for maybe season 4 or 5, you know? But to do it so close to the beginning of the show when people are still really coming into their own, and then it's like, because of that, I felt like they kind of limped their way into season 3, even for the first handful of episodes, when he then got back to his Earth, but it was still different. And then you had Caitlin have Killer Frost powers, obviously, and I just felt like it was so, like, not cohesive. And then Savitar. I just feel like this season is somehow all over the place.
Well, you know what it is?
You know?
Well, you know what it is, if I may throw in my 2 cents? The whole thing is, I feel like Flashpoint was completely rushed. I didn't mind that they did it to start season 3, but if you're going to do it to start season 3, I feel like you need to make it last longer than 1 episode.
It couldn't.
Like...
No, I mean, it physically couldn't because he shares the universe with Arrow. Yeah. So if you were going to make...
I know.
Right, so if you were going to make Flashpoint go more than 1 week, Arrow would have literally had to been an entirely different show too.
No, I get it.
They couldn't. They had to end it in that 1 episode of Flash before Arrow came on the next night.
I get it, but you see, the whole thing is that tell me you wouldn't have wanted to have seen what a Flashpoint would have looked like throughout all the shows.
Absolutely.
Except for Supergirl might not have been affected.
Well, Supergirl is on a totally different
Exactly, that's what I'm saying.
And Legends is out in time.
So you really would have only had to deal with Arrow.
But now you have to consider the fact that they have to dedicate 1 or 2 episodes of Arrow season.
I wanted 3. I wanted 3 episodes.
So now you're saying they have to dedicate 3 episodes of Arrow to being Flash's storyline.
Because you know what it is?
Because that was never going to continue in Arrow.
No, I know. Honestly, I know that he was still dealing with the ramifications throughout the season or what have you. But I feel like they kind of, even when he came back, there were conflicts, but I feel like those conflicts got resolved so quickly into like a nice little bow, and that was it. Like, Iris wasn't talking with her father. They fixed that in like an episode.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, all they had to do, surprise, surprise, they talked, and that was it. Like, they made it seem like that it was such a big deal because it was like, oh, Barry, you know they're not speaking. Like, the hell's wrong with you? And it's like, shit, well, ironically, they're not speaking, but all they had to do was speak to resolve the whole situation.
Because what it is now is that at this point in the season, aside from Caitlin having Killer Frost powers and ice powers, and Julian being introduced and just existing, the world is the same.
Can I just say one thing?
They never bring up Iris and Joe's conflict again. Like, they resolved it once, and it's just dead.
That's what I'm saying.
Cisco no longer brings up his brother.
Well, no, but I felt like they did that one at least a little bit better because...
It took more than an episode to resolve.
Yeah, and he realized it at the end of the Invasion crossover when he himself messed with time and saw the ramifications.
And even the fact
I was just trying to do the right thing. And
when Savitar was trying to get out of the stone, he made Cisco's brother come as a hallucination. So we might actually see that again down the road.
It's possible.
If he wants someone to become alchemy again, you know, he'll try
possible.
again. But I feel like just somehow at this point the whole world is just back to the way it was in season 2. Like we had all these conflicts, but now they're all patched up, and here's your show again.
Yeah,
you know?
I mean...
Except for the fact that Julian's there, and she's Killer Frost.
I just want to say one thing that's really funny and I'm not shitting on the show. I just think that it's hysterical, and I'm sure once I say this, you guys are gonna always see it now, and you're just gonna laugh about it. It's great. Do you ever notice that whenever they're in the lab, right? Usually at least once every episode, someone gets like really upset, and then they walk out, and then someone's always like, I'm gonna go talk to them. And they fucking go, they talk to them like, I don't know why.
You know what's so funny?
That always makes me laugh because I catch it every episode and I'm like,
after you told me that, literally the very next episode, it happened again.
It happened again.
And I was like, oh my god, he's right. It does happen like every episode.
Yeah.
Someone storms out, and then someone's like...
Someone gets really, really worked up and upset, and they're just like, I can't deal with this right now. And they leave.
And either someone automatically says it, or someone else is about to go, and then someone like Barry's like, no.
No.
I'll go.
Talk. Yeah, I got this. You know what I mean? Like, I'm a therapist. Let's do this shit.
But it is, in my opinion, the weakest of the 3 seasons so far, and I'm really, really hoping that they could pick it up for the last.
Well,
10
another
episodes.
reason why I feel like it's the weakest. I think we're getting a little tired of having a speedster as the villain every season. Don't get me wrong. I loved Reverse Flash. Tom Cavanagh. Holy shit, you're an amazing actor. Loved you on Scrubs as JD's brother as well, by the way. Favorite show. But I digress. I loved him as Reverse Flash. He did a great job pretending to be someone. No, he was being Thawne pretending to be Wells.
Yeah.
Like, he was playing a role inside of a role. That's like some Exhibit Pimp My Ride shit. Like, yo, dog, we know how much you like villains, so we put a villain inside of your villain so he can be bad while he's bad. Like, that was awesome. That was awesome. I love that shit. It was a great twist because even though you thought you were right, you were still wrong.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're like, oh, he's clearly the Reverse Flash. And you're like, yeah, but he's actually
not Wells.
Exactly. So it was like mic drop when they did that shit. It was amazing. That was dope. Like, season 3 feels like a little convoluted just because... I mean, you're establishing a lot of speedsters, and I really wish that they would have taken a little more time. I like that Wally's there. I would have preferred Wally to be introed season 3 and then get powers season 4. I wouldn't have...
So you wouldn't have even wanted him introduced in season 2?
No, but I understand where the writers are coming from because they say that, and they've said in interviews that they treat each season like it's going to be their last. So they want to just kind of throw everything into the fire or whatever, but... I get that, but I feel like even having Jay Garrick in season 2 in the finale was great because Barry needs a mentor, and it was a great idea to have someone that is essentially his father,
yeah,
but from a different Earth, and be an older speedster. That's a great idea for the mentor of Jay Garrick. That was great. It's an amazing job. But like now you got Jesse Thick, but you got what's it called? And you know you got Wally. And Wally's got his powers now, and then Jesse's coming back, like, you know, she's recurring, and so now you're gonna have Jay, Jesse, Wally, Barry. It's only season 3.
Exactly.
That, and I'm not trying to be like, you know, a douchebag, like, oh, I'm so ungrateful, we have all these amazing speedsters from these comics, and I'm like, fuck you, speedsters. That's not it at all. It's the fact that I don't want them to be oversaturated to the point where we're like, speedster. I wanted it to be like, you know, Jimmy.
And who's the overarching villain of the whole season?
Yeah, the big bad.
Oh, Speedster.
It's Savitar, who looks like a Transformer.
He's
like,
Megatron. Like,
I was waiting for Mark Wahlberg or Shia LaBeouf to come out and just say, yo, man, wrong shit. You gotta come back to us right now.
Optimus is gonna come out and be like, one shall stand.
Yeah, I mean,
one shall fall.
When I was assuming that a human being was underneath there, and he very well could be, but he just looks so far away from Mark Waid's, like, comic book Savitar. Holy shit. I literally was like, that's supposed to be Savitar? I mean, I like the idea that he's so quick, but what is it with Barry being the fastest man, but everyone's faster than him? Like now we're at the point where, at the rate that his speed is going, with all the tachyon shit that he has, that he's obtained to make himself even faster, Wally's gonna beat him by the end of the finale? Like,
yeah, Wally, I mean, at this point, they're putting Wally on a track where he's going to progress so fast and exponentially that he's going to become faster than Barry in no time. And it's like, wow.
How does that make sense?
I mean, I understand the fact that Wally had more potential than him.
No, like in the comics, Wally is faster than Barry. Like, in the comics he is. And I get that. But he had time as Kid Flash before he was like actually, you know, before it was like 1987 and he had his run and everything. Like, this is bullshit a little bit. And I'm not, you know, Flash is my favorite show out of all of these shows in total. Like season 1, 2, 3, total. I love it the most. But there's just certain things that aren't really sticking with me, or maybe some other fans too. I know some people have complained on forums and things of that nature. It's because, you know, for someone who's supposed to be like Barry Allen, fastest man alive, every single person is faster than you, dude. Like, you can't say that anymore. Like, think about it. Every villain, Zoom, Savitar, Reverse Flash, all these people were faster than him at some point.
But those are villains. Now you also get his allies are faster than him. Are becoming faster than him.
I mean, and that's crazy because I feel like his trajectory is going crazy. No pun intended when I said trajectory, even though she died just from running in season 2. No, like, I don't think that the trajectory is going well for like, because I don't understand how Barry's so slow still. If he had all this help already, you know what I mean? Like tachyons, he literally had a dream. Like, he was in the Speed Force, like just swimming around in that shit, like talking to it in different forms.
But
like,
it didn't give him any extra.
But he hasn't, you know, it hasn't given him like that extra oomph in his step still. Like
a couple of things
that with the tachyon, how is he not faster?
A couple of things I have a problem with this
like,
season, and it's not even. Okay, let me explain. One, as far as, and this is, writers are writers, that's fine. I'm saying, if I'm looking at it and I'm supposed to believe these characters, from a character standpoint, you saw the woman you love get killed, like, what, 3 months from now, right?
Yep.
So, you keep telling her, you're gonna say, I promise you I'm gonna save.
And he promised her on, like, his
He said, I swear on
lives.
both my parents' lives, I'm going to protect you.
When he said that, I was like,
if that was
damn,
me.
Are you sure, man?
If that was me.
Yeah.
And I was trying to save Elizabeth, my fiance. If I was trying to save her, I would be running and training on that fucking treadmill or something every day. I would wake up and run. I would go to sleep and run. And he's sitting there. Like, he's literally at some point just like sitting on the couch with Iris.
But now the burden's on Wally. Because now he's
Which
the one
is
that's like,
bullshit.
Wally,
He's
you're
like,
going to be the one
he
to
ends
do
up
this.
not training. He swears he's going to save her, but doesn't try to improve himself. And then at one point just says, Wally, you're going to do it. And it's like, way to just throw it off yourself, you dick. Like, you're trying to save the woman you love, but you haven't tried to get faster once. He didn't. He honestly didn't. He didn't try to get faster at all since seeing that image. Problem number 2.
No, what he's tried to have done, though, is he tried to change what was going on.
Problem number 2.
The cameraman was in there, right? That was problem number 2. The cameraman in the Plunder episode.
Here's my
Please
problem.
tell me you guys have seen this. If you guys have it DVR'd, or even if you want to check it out on the CW app, go for it. The episode with Plunder. I don't know.
Right when he's leaving the garage, right after he
knocks out Wally,
face off of
like
Wally.
Wally jumps midair, he hits him with something. Wally's on the ground as he pulls off in the motorcycle. If you look all the way on the right hand side, cameraman just chilling there like no big deal. And if you haven't, that's just if you haven't seen it. I'm sure majority of you.
His
have.
problem number 2 for me,
Hilarious,
is how he tried to stop Savitar, and he's like. Cisco vibes him back to that moment when he could read the headlines on the
and they want to change
news.
the headlines.
And he said, if we can change the headlines, we can change the future.
Right.
And to me, I just call bullshit on that, because what is changing a headline in a news reel gonna do to change the future? Well, so in the headline it said Flash stops Plunder, goes to jail.
Right.
He didn't stop Plunder. He made Wally stop Plunder. But in the end, Plunder still went to jail. Like, nothing changed in the event except who caught him. Nothing changed. There was no ramification for the future. That human being is still locked up. Whether it was you or Flash, or Kid Flash, I mean, he still got caught. You didn't change the future. You know?
Yeah.
And that's bothered me. I'm like, changing the headlines doesn't mean anything. You have to change the event itself. You know?
Yeah.
Changing it from Flash catches Plunder to Kid Flash catches Plunder does shit for me. How about the fact, or maybe Plunder escapes, or Plunder dies, or, you know what I mean? Or Plunder becomes a good guy.
Right.
Like, something to actually alter the future, not just who caught him. I felt like that was so lazy. Like, what are you talking about? That doesn't do anything.
It's like I think they're thinking of it.
That's like saying, if I could change the events. Okay, so I'm not wearing white sneakers anymore, now I'm wearing black. I'm still wearing shoes. Nothing changes. Or I'm still going to the same location. Nothing changed. It's like you changed the covering. You didn't change what's inside the box.
I think that they're thinking of it from their perspective of
And that was my rant.
The butterfly effect. You know what I mean? Like, it's really like if you change one thing, you might be changing, setting off a domino where everything else is going, awry as well. So like if you change like one thing, maybe that will start a different path. Because, if everything is supposed to be going a certain way, right? If you cut off one way, it's got to be forced to go somewhere else. But the question really is that if you divert that from happening in that direction, is it still going to find another way to get back on the path? Or is it going to always go astray?
But if they were really going to use the butterfly effect, like, they literally haven't even mentioned that once.
No, but things are changing, though. Because Harrison Wells was in the next shot, remember? He was on the rooftop.
But that's not because they caught Plunder. That's not because Kid Flash caught Plunder. That was because Barry told Harrison what was happening. That's what it was. Because one way or another, Plunder was still getting caught. So one way or another, they could have still got his rifle. You know? That was just the thing.
Yeah.
So that is my Flash rant. That's just, it's bothering me. If they can, I mean, they have a lot of episodes left. Maybe they can convince me.
Well, let's talk about what they're doing right, so that it's not like we're just going, "Oh, Flash, you fucked up season 3." Because despite all these criticisms that we're giving right now, it doesn't take away from the fact that I still am enjoying the season.
No, yeah, I will always enjoy it.
I feel like they made Wally a lot more likable since he's gotten his powers. Like before, he just seemed a little stubborn at times, where it was to the point where it was like, "Yo, why are you getting so disrespectful?"
He just seemed like a brat.
A little bit.
He was like, "Oh, I have powers. You have powers."
A little bit.
Then Jesse got powers. Jessica's powers. Oh, I have powers.
And then jumping into traffic. That was crazy.
to like snap, jump start his powers.
My adrenal glands will kick in and I'll have speed. No,
maybe I'll just get killed.
Yeah. No, your adrenal glands will end up on the fucking street. Like with the rest of your body when it's splattered after a car hits it. But I digress again. Because I do feel like they're doing... I mean, even though I wish that they didn't have a Kid Flash right now, I feel like that should have been a Season 4 type thing. But even though that they do have him now, I love what they're doing with him. I like his progression. It doesn't feel like his progression is being forced. It feels like it's going gradually. I just wish that it wasn't going so gradually to the point where he's about to surpass his predecessor. Because that...
And he's had his powers for what, maybe a month?
No, it's probably a couple months at this point.
Okay, a couple months.
But Barry's had this for 3 years now.
Exactly.
So that just doesn't make sense to me. I mean, I don't know if it's...
I feel like Barry got the shit end of the stick. He had to spend 9 months in a coma.
Unless, potential theory could be maybe like, because his powers were given to him artificially, maybe he can't keep them. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I could be talking on my ass.
Here's my theory. Wally's going to end up running too fast. And he's going to disappear.
There's some people saying that Wally's going to be Savitar.
He's going to be Savitar?
Yeah, he's going to end up becoming Savitar. I don't know, man. People are...
I don't know about that.
I don't know. I would like to hear that explained and elaborated.
But that's what I think, is that he's going to wind up going so fast. Like, if any of you have seen Young Justice, I'm pretty sure it even happened in the comic.
What? Which event, exactly?
Wally running so fast, he became one with the Speed Force.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that's just going to be something they touch upon now, that because they keep making it a point to tell you how much potential Wally has, and he's just getting faster and faster and faster every time he runs. And now especially that we're getting the dynamic that Barry is pretty much going to push him or force him to get faster to save Iris. It's going to become the fact that he runs too fast, and I think he's just going to disappear. And then we're going to maybe it'll get touched upon in season 4.
We'll see. I mean, but that being said, I like his progression as Kid Flash, though I wish it would have been he would have been Kid Flash a little later on, to give Barry some room for himself. But I like his progression still. I definitely feel like he's a lot more likable now. I feel like they're doing a good job at making him like a sensation in the city because he's younger looking and whatever. So like people are going, "Oh my God, Kid Flash, fantastic! He's better than Flash. It's cool." Again, though, it kind of feels like they're shitting on Barry. But
and I feel like his mask is doing nothing to hide his identity.
Yeah, it's a little lackluster. I could see that a little bit. What I want to also talk about though is I like some people have a problem with it. I like that there's a third Wells now. I like this Wells. I think that the fact that Tom Cavanagh keeps becoming like a new person every season, I think it's kind of funny, and I like it.
I think I'm just gonna leave.
Why, you don't like it?
No. No, I gotta be honest with you. It bothers me only because, one, I'm worried that this is gonna become a trend that every season we're gonna get a new Wells.
That would be hilarious, actually.
I don't think so.
I think it would be hilarious.
Earth 2 Wells is my favorite. He just needs to come back because he was a combination of everything. Like, he had the sternness of season 1 Wells, the Thorn Wells, where it's like, oh, is he also evil when we first met him? Or could he be a dick?
Right.
And it's like he came into his own, and then he became like a part of the family, and then him and Joe had that dynamic because they both had children. So at that point, they were watching their children, especially when Jessie got her powers.
Yeah.
Like, they watched their children fight, and it was more like that father dynamic.
Right.
And it just worked. Like, it clicked for me. And then we get this Wells, and he's not even smart. He's not even there.
But that's what makes him different from the others.
Yes, and yes, he's different, but different doesn't always mean better. And in my opinion, I need Earth 2 Wells back.
Well, then can we agree on the fact that of Cisco's powers being better, like progressing?
I love that. I can't wait
for
him to
more
fully.
vibe-like.
I can't wait for him to fully come into being Vibe.
Yeah, he's got the whole hand.
And then Gypsy. I can't wait to see
that's
Gypsy
gonna be
again
his love
because
interest.
because Cisco and Gypsy.
She's gonna train him.
Yeah, and his lines are the best when he was with Gypsy.
Yeah, like
they really were.
Whenever he kept saying like, "Yeah, there's a place down the spot, we can have dinner or something like that," I was like, "Yo, he's trying to
like,
kill
if you
me."
want to get to him, you're gonna have to go through me. We can talk later. There's a nice place to go eat down the block. And I just it's such a great character dynamic between the two of them. And
Oh yeah, they definitely have some serious chemistry together automatically right off the screen. It's very apparent, and I love the fact that something. Even though his brother died because of Flashpoint, it seems that Flashpoint somehow progressed his powers though, because all he was doing in seasons 1 and 2 was like going, touching something and then like being somewhere. That was it, and not that wasn't like an awesome.
Well,
power,
no, towards the end of season 2, he started making.
Well, yeah, he even you're right.
You're
right. Season 2, he even hit.
Because that's how
he hit
Zoom
Black
came
Siren.
back through.
Yeah, but he hit Black Siren with one of his bodies. Like, what the hell was that? But like now he has more control.
Yeah, it's progressing.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
So I think that was like one cool thing. And you know what? I like that Caitlyn has powers.
Yeah, I just wish that I mean, obviously it's going to happen this season, especially that it was one of the headlines.
Yeah.
Like Killer Frost is back. But I just want them to pull the trigger already. If her powers are gonna break and she's gonna become Killer Frost, or they're gonna be able to save her, or give us that arc of her becoming it and not, or whatever.
Right.
But make something happen. You know what I mean? I want to see more of that evolution of her character and her being Killer Frost.
Yeah, because it's a good, strong story plot. I mean, like, honestly, I would have rather had her be the main villain this year than Sabotage.
I mean, they've gone through so many, like, hurdles of it. Like, she had the power-suppressing bracelets, and then those weren't working anymore. Now they gave her the necklace.
Which I thought was kind of a dickish necklace to give, because it's kind of like, I felt like they were, like, kind of poking the bear a little bit. Like, oh, you're struggling to become this murderous human being called Killer Frost. Let me make you a snowflake necklace to keep those powers at bay. It's kind of a dick move. Like, you're not taking it seriously enough. You know what I mean? Like, it's a snowflake. How cute is that?
I will tell you, I like what they're doing with Julian now.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't like him at the beginning.
I wasn't sure how he was going to fit in with, like, the whole team.
Right.
But
I like what they're doing now, and now they're kind of making it a love interest between Caitlyn and Julian.
Maybe, but I kind of feel like she might, like, a part of her might be being nice to him because she might want him to become alchemy again so that he can take away her powers.
Oh, like she has ulterior motives for it.
Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, it could be a possibility, absolutely.
So that's cool. I definitely feel like it would have been such a stronger villain for her to be the main big bad for this season because...
A deeper story, too.
Deeper story, but I feel like it would have hurt the shit out of everyone. Because this is a woman that everyone's...
They were practically a family,
Yeah, they are family. And the fact that she'd become this and then, like, be willing to destroy everyone, dude. Not only does that hurt you physically, the fact that what she can do, but you're just like your insides are torn up because you're like, oh my god, Caitlyn, you fucked me up. You know what I mean? Like you're just all the feels. You're just like, oh, I'm feeling. It's just too much. It's done. It's a great idea for a villain. I thought that she'd be a great big bad. But do we have anything else for Flash that we like? I mean,
I'm always gonna like Flash.
Yeah, I just feel like they could have done more.
Like I have a good time watching this show. I'm never gonna.
You can't not.
But I know the potential that it could have because of seasons 1 and 2, and I just wish that season 3 was better.
And Alchemy could have been a main villain. He could have been a big bad by himself.
And they ended up making him a puppet for Sabotage.
Yeah, because in the comics, like granted, sometimes his power is cheesy, but that stone can turn anything into anything. So that is a strong power to have.
I mean, when we first heard just through like the grapevine and the rumor mill that Alchemy was going to be introduced.
Oh yeah, during
it was like,
season.
Oh my god, like, we're going to get Alchemy.
Yeah, I was super excited.
But then he ended up just being like a henchman for Sabotage.
One thing that I'm looking forward to though, I'm looking forward to seeing what they're going to do when this season finale comes to a head because I know it's going to be insane. It's going to be incredible. I feel like the lead up, like they do a really great job at leading up to the finale each season. So I'm looking forward to the lead up there. I like that Barry's finally with Iris. Because it feels right, even though they still make it weird every once in a while. They're like, yeah, we're kind of like brother and sister. It's like, no, stop. Like, don't even say that anymore. You know what I mean? Like, you live under the roof. You're not blood related. It's okay, all right? Jesus.
But I will say, and you're right, absolutely, they do a great job of leading up to the finale every year, so... That if we're going to get our strongest episodes and our strongest outings, the last handful of episodes, I'm happy.
On to Legends of Tomorrow.
Legends
this
of Tomorrow.
Has been the most fantastic show of the 4, in my opinion, for this season. for this specific season. Season 1, I thought they were a little pigeon-held when it came to, Vandal Savage, even though I thought the finale was fantastic, too. I'm not knocking the first season. I thought it was solid. But this second season, oh my God. Like, start to finish, it's been so fucking good. Like, I feel like it's been the best written. I feel like it's been the most charismatic, fun, like... They bring everything into the mix. Like, they don't hold anything back, man. Like, every episode I've been seeing, I don't have any qualms with it. Like, the Legion of Doom. What? Reverse Flash. The Black Racer was there, guys. The Black fucking Racer.
So
Come on, man.
exciting to see.
Like, and to see Merlin, because I was wondering where Merlin was when Arrow started up. I was like, he just disappeared and shit for this season. And then I'm glad that they, talked about, like, oh, we took him. And then, like, bringing Damien Dark back, finding a way to bring him back. Because, I mean, this is where we disagree. I feel like season 4 was the weakest season of Arrow, but Damien Dark I felt like was ironically because despite his name was the bright spot of the season because I think it's Neil McDonough is the name. If it's not, again, Dick. His acting is fantastic. He played a great Damien Dark, and it was he had to die. He did have to die, but I'm glad that they found a way to bring him back as a villain in another show because, damn it, he kills that role.
Yeah,
like he's so good at that role. So to see him, Reverse Flash, and Merlin together, come on. And Captain Cold's supposed to be like part of that from what I heard. I don't know.
In some way, shape, or form.
Yeah, in some capacity.
Eventually.
But I loved when they did the episode where it was more based on the villains when they took Rip.
Yeah.
And like just being able to give an episode that was less about the legends, more about the villains. I mean these aren't just like your regular weekly villains that, come and go as they please and that's it. These guys really own the screen. I mean, John Barrowman, killer. Like, the guy plays Eobard Thawne.
They're move makers.
Amazing. They're fantastic. And they held that episode. That episode did not feel like it lacked. If anything, I felt like it had it. It was great.
Their back and forth in that episode was like gold.
Yeah.
It was not a single moment that the two of them, like Dark and Merlin, or even the three of them on screen together, was boring or bad.
No,
everything was great about that episode.
They held that episode. They were like, here, we need you to hold this episode down. They were like, oh, how down do you want it? Because I'll do it all day. They didn't give a shit. They were awesome, man. Awesome, absolutely fantastic.
I will say this season is a great season.
So much more freedom.
Now they had more freedom, and I love the inclusion of Vixen in this season.
I love Haywood, Citizen Steel.
Yeah. Oh my God, I love it. I love that connection, that chemistry. Mm-hmm. It's great. Like this whole season is
everyone's more established.
They're batting 1,000 right now.
Yeah, it's like and we're not trying to kiss ass, but this show really, for the time being, the way that it's been, can do no wrong. I mean, Mick as Heatwave is just like awesome. He's so entertaining with the way he's just like, you guys are idiots. Like he's just so funny, and you can't help it. Like his deadpans are on point. Vixen's fantastic. I mean, the addition of Citizen Steel to make up for the fact that Rip wasn't in a lot of these episodes, and even when he is, he's not Rip for real. I mean, dude, like Sarah becoming like the leader, she's doing a great job as the leader.
Yeah.
Like everyone seems to be where they're supposed to be. I mean, Ray Palmer, fantastic. He brings so much comedy. Dude, when he was running from the rat, I was dying. That was hilarious. Like these guys just have such great chemistry all around with each other. And the writing for these things, I mean, the villains are great. Like the way that they fix these aberrations and the way that they just do everything. It's just they're just not doing anything where I'm like, why'd you do that? You know what I mean? Like, why are they doing that?
And even the fact of like they're fixing the aberrations, but somehow you still get little hints of things that were accidentally or inadvertently changed. Like when Mick was talking to George Washington, and that was a statue of him.
Yeah, that was great. I knew that was gonna happen too. The minute he was talking with him and everything about that. Last one.
Arrow.
Choo.
In my opinion, the strongest show out of all four right now. I am loving Arrow. I feel like they can do no wrong. This season is killing it for me.
Okay.
I am being a huge fanboy right now of Arrow. I have like no complaints. Certain like nitpicks here and there, but like this show is killing it for me this season.
I agree with you.
I am loving it. I'm having a great time, and the story is so engaging for me.
Yeah.
Like I didn't have a problem with season 4. Like I know you said it was the weakest of the four for you. I didn't have such a big problem with it like that. But I will say that the story in this season it's so much more of a story-driven season than season 4 was, or possibly even season 3.
Oh yeah,
I'm gonna say season 3 was the weakest, in my opinion.
Season 3 was the second weakest for me.
Season 3 was the weakest for me, but this season is such a story-driven season. I love the mystery of Prometheus, and that is my one gripe, is that I really hope who they said in the end was Prometheus actually isn't, and there's still another twist in there, because I want it to be someone that we've seen already. And I'm not saying it has to be Tommy. My wish, you want to talk about being selfish? My wish is that Tommy is under that hood. I know he's not, and if he is, it's like a 1% chance that he is, but that's my wish.
Yeah,
but I'm hoping it's someone we know. I want it to be someone who we already have experience with.
At least at some point.
Because then it makes us feel more of the reveal. Like, oh my god, that's who he's been fighting this whole season. Like, we've already seen interactions between these two characters, or we've already seen experiences with these two characters. I want it to be someone we know. And I would rather it be, I mean, I know it's so, like, cliche in a way that maybe it's someone from his flashbacks in Russia. Like, you know what I mean? But I would still rather that than see who, and I forgot his name, Justin Claiborne? His son?
Oh.
That's who supposedly is Prometheus. And it's like...
Some people were hoping that it's Talia. But the body does not match, though.
But it's like, for me, it's like... Maybe it's all padding under that. Like, big body padding. But for me, it's like, I would still... Tommy's my own one. I would still rather see someone from his Russia flashbacks than it be Justin Claiborne's son. If I'm screwing up I know it's Claiborne, but I don't know if it's Justin. If I'm wrong, I'm sorry, correct me in the comments. But I'd still rather be someone like that than his son as Prometheus. I just want it to be someone that we have some sort of experience and moments with already.
I feel you.
You know? But other than that, I'm loving this season.
I'm with you.
You know? I'm loving the dynamic that we now get with these new team members, like with Renee.
It was nice to bring in a new team.
And now we got the introduction to a new Black Canary, who I still miss Laurel. I really am loving this season. And in my opinion, it's the strongest of all 4 shows, with Legends being a close second, I will say.
Fair enough. I will say, though, that you even said that there's a few little nitpick things in Arrow, but you could not find anything wrong with Legends. That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say.
Look, like I said, I'm not saying Legends is doing things... Listen,
I get it.
I'm not saying Legends is doing anything wrong. They're both doing everything right. Maybe, in my opinion, Arrow's just doing them a little better.
I got you. Look. You're not wrong in saying that Arrow has been absolutely fantastic this season, because it has. I am not disagreeing with you on any front of that, because this season was... I can't stress how needed it was. I loved when in the off season when Stephen Amell said specifically, the writers and everyone. He said everyone said we're gonna go back to basics. What made this show originally was we were on the streets of Star City,
and you have seen a more gritty,
they brought it back.
Tone to this show in this season.
They brought it back, because that's what was lacking. They kind of fell into the whole metahuman thing a little bit. And am I the only one who thought it was so savage of her to fuck Billy in that house where she and Oliver were like engaged? That was so savage. That was Vandal savage. Jesus Christ. Like, yo, don't even get me started on that shit. Like, that was fucked up. Like, you were living with someone in this house, established, and it was his. It was his and Thea's.
Yeah.
And now you're gonna bring another dude in there? Like, yo, that's just wrong. That is wrong.
Dead.
That is wrong, man. That is fucking wrong. Anyway, I'm sorry. I'm going off topic again. Point being, they did a very, very, very good job at, like, kind of bringing it back to its roots. Bringing in a new team was kind of a great idea just because it was kind of like a breath of fresh air as well, where we kind of just had this whole dynamic where all of a sudden it's new characters, like new people getting trained, new people having to deal with situations that Oliver's already used to, and kind of this whole new team dynamic. I mean, it's basically Green Arrow 2.0, and the characters are fantastic. I love that they brought in like obscure characters that weren't super well known to like the highest of degrees, like with Vigilante and Wild Dog. Like these guys were like brought up in the 80s and 90s, I think, if I'm not mistaken, in comics, and they had their time, but like they weren't everlasting. So it was cool to give these guys a brand new forum to be showcased on. And Mr. Terrific, even though he's not the exact Mr. Terrific in terms of like his fighting skills or whatever, he's still super smart.
Yeah.
He was an Olympian. An Olympian. And
I think he's a great tag partner for Felicity.
Yeah, he is.
You know, like, even in the sense, like I know he's supposed to be part of Oliver's team, like, in the field, but even in the sense that we can get Oliver and his team with, like, Renee and Spartan and all that, and then we get, Felicity and her team, and maybe it could be Felicity and oh my God, Curtis. And like, have that dynamic in there. He doesn't have to be, I know he's going to be.
We see, okay, so I like the season so far. I think it's fantastic. I'm a firm believer that Adrian Chase is vigilante.
I believe it too.
But
if he's not, I'll be thoroughly surprised.
But my whole thing is, where is Prometheus? Where is he? Like, I feel like we've had a couple of episodes and he hasn't even been mentioned yet. You know what I mean? Like, so why is he not being made more prevalent? Yes. Although I miss Ragman already.
Oh my God, I know. I really hope he comes back. I really do.
I love Ragman.
Like, I hope he goes back and he's like, I fixed the rags.
Yeah, I mean, even though it's not really likely, I liked Ragman. I really did. I love having this canary because honestly, I know that you're like, oh,
that's
what
one
are
of
the
my
odds
nitpicks.
what are the odds that her name is Dinah? For those who don't know, I believe it was Dinah Drake was the first original canary from 1940. Mother? I don't believe it was her mother. They kind of retconned her origin after a certain time frame, and then when they revamped Green Arrow with Mike Grell, they had her be Lance, like Dinah Lance.
Yeah.
So the fact that she was Dinah Drake, I was like, oh, I thought that was a nice little, tip your cap to 19.
But what bothers me about it is that.
But she feels more like Canary.
Yeah, I'm just
even though it's been a couple weeks. She feels more like Canary than Laurel ever did. I'm sorry. I'm not saying this because I hated Laurel. I did not hate Laurel. It's just that I didn't feel like she embodied what it was to be Canary. And this one even has the canary cry, and I love how she got her canary cry. Watching her partner in like
her boyfriend.
Yeah, I meant like partner.
Oh yeah, okay.
Like watching him die and then seeing that wave hit her as she was screaming, seeing him die. I thought that was so ill. I thought that was so ill that they did that. That was dope as shit.
I mean, I thought it was an interesting twist that, like, New Carrie now is technically, she's a metahuman.
Yeah.
She's actually a metahuman.
She is a metahuman.
No, yeah.
And she is in the
It just bothers me that it's like, oh, that was my cover name. My real name is Dinah. Of course it is. Of course your name is Dinah.
But they were all talking about it being destiny, and then that was kind of like the last nail in the coffin to solidify that it
I know,
was
but it was nail in the coffin. How about a nail in the fucking head? It's like, I get it, okay. She's like, I get it. Thanks.
I
like Canary.
I liked it.
I like her as a character. I just felt like it was so coincidental. Like, oh, her name is also Dinah.
She just has that.
And then he even said, I knew a person named Dinah. Yeah. Oh yeah, thanks.
But she has that rough around the edges feel. You know what I mean? Like that the Canary had. So I really like it. I mean, I'm looking forward to seeing what she's gonna bring to the table. I like that they established her more with Dig this week.
Yeah.
To kind of like old OG member to new member and get their chemistry going. That's cool. I'm looking forward to seeing what they're gonna do with Susan Williams. She knows that Oliver was in Russia and she knows he's the Green Arrow, so that's gonna be interesting. But
they're holding it.
Yeah.
They're purposely holding it.
Yeah.
They're not telling us yet.
All in all,
but,
I want to hear where Prometheus is. I want to see him soon because I'm getting a little like, where the fuck has he been these past few weeks? I mean, I think they mentioned him like once or twice, but I want to see him.
Yeah.
And he's doing a great job as a villain. I feel like this is like the strongest season in 3 years for Arrow.
Next week is going to strictly be reviewing and discussing one next week Supergirl, Flash, Legends, and Arrow. Just those 4 episodes, and that's it.
If you watch this entire video, you're a fucking champion.
And
Thank
we love
you so
you for
much.
it.
Please love you.
Comment below. There's so much that we spoke about. We would love to see your opinions and thoughts and talk about. We can have a huge ass discussion in the comments if you want.
If you guys agree, disagree.
And if you like the idea that we have about this DCTV weekly recap, it will happen every week. And even after the season ends, when next season comes, we'll come back as well.
Yeah.
So if you
like
that,
half-ass it this time.
and it will be a whole season. If you like it, then subscribe and you will catch it every week. Otherwise, we'll see you next time. I'm Anthony.
I'm Manny.
Later.
When everyone kept saying, "Hey, Barry's dad's back! Henry's back. I was like, that motherfucker's gonna
And then
die.